Ryan's really done it this time. He stated his opinion. When Felma said she was tolerant of all people, Ryan assumed that meant she might be tolerant of him, too. It started in their economics class when Felma bemoaned the fact that women make less money than men for doing the same work. It's ridiculous that women are treated like second-class citizens, making cents on the dollar for the same work, Felma announced. When their teacher didn't correct her, Ryan piped up. Yeah, I hate when that happens too. Fortunately, it doesn't seem to happen very often anymore, Ryan commiserated. What are you talking about? It happens all the time. Women get paid a fraction of what men get paid. I can't believe you can be so insensitive, you ignorant bigot, Felma returned. She slammed her half-finished, venti, non-caff green tea latte in the nearest recycling bin, not even bothering to separate it into the 9 different recycling bins, and stomped out of class to the safe space to process her emotions. Their teacher, who was drinking out of his "my other penis is a vagina" coffee mug, nodded his agreement with a "you tell it, sister" to Felma's assertion and proceeded to begin the day's economics lessons titled X Marks the Spot, which seemed to be a love poem written to Karl Marx and his philosophies. Ryan did not hear his teacher begin reciting the economics lesson. Carl, you beast, inviting all to the feast. When I think about you, all else ceases. Ryan was deep in thought. He could tell he had upset Felma. Was there perhaps any merit to her castigation? Ryan would have to think about this. The next couple hours floated by in a sort of fuzz. He changed classes and bumped into his new friend Gary the Goth, standing like a statue in his vegan leather trench coat by the water fountain with a glassy-eyed stare for all who passed. Some of these passers-by seemed not to understand exactly what Gary was trying to convey and dropped loose change into an empty Starbucks cup that just happened to be near him, thinking that Gary was some sort of living art show or comment on the oppressive nature of patriarchal hierarchies. Ryan, seeing an opportunity and being the capitalist that he was, quickly created a Venmo account and drew up a sign that said, "Fight the Power," which he placed in front of Gary. By the end of the passing period, the Venmo account had $150 in it from those eager to fight power, especially the power. Ryan invested the money in a Roth IRA and a 529 for Gary and used some of the proceeds to buy his friend some Black Soul eyeliner on Amazon. When the bell rang, Gary monotoned, "I must have passed out," and checked the time on his silver-plated pocket watch. As the two of them walked to their women's studies class, which Ryan originally thought was an advanced placement anatomy class, he asked Gary, "Do you think women get paid less than men?" "Of course. You don't?" Gary retorted with a raised eyebrow and a slight snarl on his lipsticked lips. "I think it happens sometimes, but I haven't seen evidence that it is currently a systemic issue. Why do you think men get paid more?" Ryan returned. "Men are jerks," Gary replied robotically. "Are they? Which ones?" Ryan earnestly asked. "All of them. They're why we have war." Oh. Ryan considered this. "Well, I don't think you're a jerk, Gary." Gary paused in mid-step, came to a halt, and gave the statement some serious thought. A couple fellow students walked by and one put his fist up to show his understanding and nodded at Gary, who didn't seem to notice. Ryan heard a ding on his phone and saw that the Venmo account had made another $10 and decided he should take the "Fight the Power" sign with the Venmo account information on it off of Gary. Gary shook from his reverie. "Hey, you're right, I'm not a jerk," announced Gary without his characteristic monotone. "But," continued Gary, slipping back into the "I'd rather be dead" drone he usually employed, "then why are men making more money than women for the same work?" Ryan wanted to tell him about different life choices, men working more dangerous jobs like construction and oil field, many women opting to take a few years off to be with their babies, men being easily driven by the lure of higher paying jobs, but he knew that he would have about as much luck as he was likely to with Felma. They walked the rest of the way to class in silence. Ryan decided that after women's studies, he would go to the meditation room to think it through. Today's hero in women's studies was Susan B. Anthony. Ryan liked Miss Anthony. She was anti-slavery, pro-women's rights, and pro-temperance. Ryan was anti-slavery. Ryan was pro-women's rights. Ryan's parents told him he was pro-temperance until he was 21. Republicans had voted in Miss Anthony's 19th Amendment, whereas the Democrats of the day opposed it. It should be noted, however, that Woodrow Wilson, a Democrat, ratified the amendment. It should also be noted that he did this as a political maneuver, not as a deeply held conviction. Oh, and he also ratified the 16th Amendment, allowing for a federal income tax. That's right. Thank a Democrat for that FICA guy taking all the money you make each paycheck. Ryan straightened his tie, adjusted his Reagan-Bush 84 election pin, and marched off to have a conversation. A real one. When he found Felma, she was standing with her friends in the hallway next to a bronze statue of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. He tapped her on the shoulder. "Felma, may I speak with you?" Though she seemed reluctant, she allowed herself to be pulled away. "What do you want?" Felma asked, more than a little defensively. Ryan resisted the urge to get defensive himself and said, "I don't agree with you on the wage gap, but even so, I guarantee there are some things we have in common." Felma looked ready to retort with an "oh yeah," but Ryan handed her one of the 2 venti non-caf green tea lattes he had had behind his back. "These are my favorite too," said Ryan, taking a sip. Felma gave Ryan the tiniest smile before returning to her friends. Ryan's phone dinged, letting him know that his package had arrived. He picked up the eyeliner at the Amazon locker near the front office and went to find Gary.